Thank you to War Thunder for being today's video sponsor.
Gehen Sie in Abwehrstellung. Wir wissen, wie viele es sind. Panzerkommando und Bunker 6. Geben Sie Tiger-Alarm. Der Feind fliegt Luftangriffe. Ist da jemand? Hallo? Ende. Sie schicken eine Patrouille zur Verstärkung. Ende.
The 5th SS Viking Division, or Wiking, stands out as a unique entity in the annals of military history. Renowned for its exceptional performance on the battlefield, this division's distinction lies not only in its combat prowess, but also in its diverse composition. Unlike many German panzer divisions of the era, Viking's ranks were predominantly filled with volunteers from various European countries, making it a symbol of pan-European cooperation and shared military objectives during World War II. What sets Vikings apart is their remarkable ability to harness the skills of soldiers hailing from different cultural backgrounds and nationalities. This diversity brought a wealth of perspectives, tactics and experiences to the battlefield, enriching the division's strategies and adaptability in the face of ever-changing wartime conditions. At the heart of Viking's success was its commitment to fostering camaraderie. Despite linguistic and cultural differences, soldiers forged strong bonds based on mutual respect, shared objectives, and a common cause. This cohesion not only bolstered morale, but also enhanced operational effectiveness, enabling the division to achieve remarkable feats in combat. Following the triumphs of the infantry regiment Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler, SS Verfügungstruppendivision Das Reich, and the SS Division Totenkopf during the initial campaigns in Poland and the Western Front, there arose a strategic imperative to augment the Waffen-SS divisions. With a significant surge in foreign volunteers, notably from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands and Belgium, it was deemed prudent to establish a volunteer division within the Waffen-SS, operating under the command of German officers. This decision reflected a recognition of the diverse pool of combat-ready individuals willing to contribute to the Axis cause, drawn by a myriad of motivations ranging from ideological fervour to nationalistic sentiments. By incorporating these volunteers into the Waffen-SS framework, the Axis powers sought to capitalise on their skills, dedication and intimate knowledge of their respective regions, thereby enhancing the overall effectiveness and reach of their military operations. Under the guidance of German officers, this volunteer division would undergo rigorous training and indoctrination, ensuring cohesion, discipline and adherence to Waffen-SS standards and objectives. The Germania Regiment, previously part of the SS Division Reich, was reassigned to reinforce the newly formed volunteer regiments Westland and Nordland. Initially designated as the SS Infantry Division Germania, confusion with an existing regiment prompted a name change. On December 20th, the division was officially renamed Viking. Leading this newly formed division was SS Obergruppenführer Felix Steiner, a highly respected former army officer. His leadership brought a sense of stability and expertise to the unit, ensuring its readiness for the challenges ahead. In February 1941, the Finnish volunteer unit was integrated into the Viking division, forming the Finnish Volunteer Battalion of the Waffen-SS. Many Finnish men would be the first to join this German division, since a large threat from the Soviets was still underway from the Winter War. This addition bolstered the division's strength and further diversified its multinational composition, underscoring the collaborative efforts within the Axis forces. And again, recruits from the division underwent several weeks of rigorous training at Heuberg. This training regimen encompassed a wide array of skills, including weapons proficiency, anti-tank tactics, and various other combat techniques. Soldiers were drilled extensively in the operation and maintenance of their firearms, ensuring they were adept in handling rifles, machine guns, and other standard-issue weaponry. Additionally, specialized training was provided in anti-tank warfare, teaching soldiers how to effectively engage and neutralize enemy armored vehicles using anti-tank guns, grenades, and other equipment. This training was crucial given the increasing prevalence of armored units on the battlefield during World War II. In June 1941, approximately half of the division's soldiers were volunteers hailing from a diverse array of European countries. Among them were individuals from Belgium, Holland, Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Finland, the former Baltic states, and other European nations. Notably, some of these volunteers had already gained combat experience by fighting against the Red Army on the Finnish side during the Winter War of 1939 to 1940. The inclusion of veterans from the Winter War further enhanced the division's combat readiness, as these individuals brought first-hand knowledge of Soviet military tactics and terrain, invaluable assets in the looming conflict on the Eastern Front. Their presence served as a testament to the interconnectedness of European geopolitics and the fluidity of allegiances during this period in history. As the division prepared for its biggest role in history's largest conflict, the invasion of the Soviet Union, it underwent extensive preparations. In mid-May, the division relocated to West Poland in anticipation of its deployment for Operation Barbarossa. Assigned to the 3rd Panzer Corps of the Army Group South, the SS Division Viking stood poised to play a crucial role in the Axis offensive against the Soviet forces. Big thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. This adrenaline pumping experience is available for free on both PC and consoles. Dive into the action and take command of an impressive arsenal featuring over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships from 10 major nations. From biplanes of the 1920s to today's fighter jets and main battle tanks, War Thunder offers a captivating journey through military history, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. With an astounding level of sophistication in vehicle damage models, each component, from engines to crew, is susceptible to damage or disabling from enemy fire. Experience the impressive damage X-ray view, providing a detailed breakdown of destruction. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles, making War Thunder an unparalleled gaming experience. With 3 distinct modes, arcade, realistic and simulator, the game caters to every type of player. Plus, indulge your creative side with in-depth customization options, featuring countless camouflages, historical markings and decorations for all types of vehicles. But that's not all. Play War Thunder for free using my link in the pinned comment or video description, and here's the exciting part. New or returning players who haven't played in the last 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack on all platforms. This exclusive offer includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account time. The division's readiness for combat was delayed until June 29, 1941, a week after the commencement of Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Despite this delay, the SS Division Viking quickly saw its first action in Russia, operating in the region of Tarnopol and disabling Soviet units that were retreating. This marked the beginning of its engagement on the Eastern Front, where it would play a significant role in the unfolding conflict. By August 1941, the division had advanced to Uman, where it became involved in the encirclement and capture of a substantial Soviet force. This operation resulted in the German capture of over 100,000 Soviet troops, marking a significant victory for the Axis forces. The SS Division Viking's contribution to this success solidified its reputation as a formidable fighting force on the Eastern Front. In unison with the Hermann Göring Panzer Division of the Luftwaffe, the Viking Division stood firm in the crucible of battle at Korsun, demonstrating the division's resolve as it pressed forward, crossing the Dnieper River and maintaining its position until August 21st. Despite relentless onslaughts from the Red Army, the division exhibited remarkable defense, steadfastly holding the line against all odds, undeterred by the intensifying resistance. The division persisted in its relentless advance towards the strategic objective of Rostov-on-Don, overcoming every obstacle so far in this operation. After this, the Wiking Division found itself under the operational control of the 14th Panzer Corps as it set out on a strategic march towards Oktyabrsk. By the culmination of November 1941, the division had achieved a significant milestone, successfully traversing the Mias River near the Sea of Azov and penetrating the territory north of Rostov. The division persisted in its march towards Rostov-on-Don, undeterred by the stiffening resistance. Engaging in intense combat for control of the city, the division played a crucial role in the fierce fighting. However, despite its efforts, the Soviets fought fiercely and the division received orders to withdraw back to the Mius River line in November. During this period, the German offensive began to lose its vigour as the harsh winter conditions set in, debilitating the troops and slowing their progress. In the face of relentless enemy counterattacks, the Viking Division found itself compelled to transition from offensive manoeuvres to a defensive stance along the Mius River. From January to June 1942, Viking stood steadfast at the Mius, entrenched in defensive positions as the bitter winter months dragged on. Despite the formidable challenges posed by the harsh weather and the relentless assaults of the enemy, the division remained resolute, holding the line. Initially, the Heer officers in charge of overseeing the deployment of the SS Division Viking were filled with skepticism regarding its combat prowess. This skepticism led them to hesitate when considering assigning the division to crucial operations. However, over time, as the division repeatedly proved its effectiveness on the battlefield, demonstrating its mettle and capability, it slowly but steadily garnered reluctant admiration from the Heer commanders. After defending the Mius until June 1942, the SS Division Viking experienced a significant reinforcement with the arrival of the 3rd Armoured Engineer Battalion and the 3rd Armoured Motorcycle Reconnaissance Detachment. These units brought with them a formidable array of armoured infantry fighting vehicles and light armoured vehicles, enhancing the division's mobility and firepower on the battlefield. Alongside these units, the division was further supported by the presence of the SS Anti-Aircraft Detachment and the SS Tank Detachment. Notably, the Tank Detachment, initially earmarked for the SS Division Das Reich, found itself swiftly redirected to bolster the Viking Division's strength. Instead, this shows how much confidence the High Command had for them. This reassignment, prompted by the pressing need for additional forces, saw the tank detachment hastily assembled in Fallingbostel and Wildflecken in February 1942. Comprising 4 tank companies, this formidable addition significantly augmented the Viking Division's combat capabilities, enabling it to confront its adversaries with increased confidence and effectiveness. Following their successful defence during the harsh winter of 1941 to 1942, the SS Division Viking received orders to recapture Rostov-on-Don and push further into the Caucasus region, with the objective of securing its crucial oil fields. The main German thrust involved a northern approach led by von Kleist's 1st Panzer Army, while the 17th Army took a more direct route from the west towards the city. Spearheading the initial assault were the 14th and 22nd Panzer Divisions, swiftly followed by the SS Division Viking. During the early stages of the assault, the 14th Panzer Division bypassed the city after the initial day or two of combat, while the 22nd remained engaged for a longer duration. Meanwhile, Viking found itself embroiled in intense urban combat, methodically clearing the city block by block. The division predominantly relied on its panzer regiments, primarily equipped with long Panzer IIIs, to navigate the challenging urban terrain and engage in close quarters combat with determined Soviet defenders. The battle was brutal, with 5th Viking taking casualties, but they fought on in the city. After taking Rostov next towards the end of September 1942, the SS Division Viking had strategically positioned itself for a decisive offensive aimed at seizing the vital city of Grozny. Teaming up with General der Panzertruppen Traugott Heer's 13th Panzer Division, meticulous coordination was established to ensure the success of the operation to capture this pivotal urban centre. Upon reaching the Terek River, the Soviet defences became significantly fortified. Multiple obstacle belts presented formidable challenges that needed to be overcome before reaching the crucial Georgian Road, which served as a vital supply route for American provisions. Recognising the complexity of the situation, Felix Steiner made the strategic decision to divide his division into 4 separate columns. Each column was assigned distinct objectives, yet all shared the common goal of breaking through the Soviet defences and establishing a passage to the Caspian Sea. The SS Regiment Nordland was tasked with launching an assault along the Kursk River towards Malgobek. Meanwhile, the SS Panzer Battalion Viking, supported by units from the SS Regiment Germania, was assigned the critical mission of breaking through the primary line of defence and securing a bridgehead. Simultaneously, the SS Regiment Westland was charged with capturing the town of Sogopshin. Additionally, the division's engineering unit, in conjunction with the remaining forces from Germania, was to advance along the Kursk. The attack commenced during the night of September 25-26, 1942. However, the assault led by Nordland quickly encountered obstacles, with soldiers realising they were not only outnumbered by the Red Army but also faced well-fortified enemy positions. Within a mere 30 minutes, nearly half of the regiment's soldiers had fallen in battle. Despite the adversity, they managed to capture the hill. In recognition of his leadership and bravery during the intense battle, the regiment's commander, Fritz von Scholz, was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. On October 6th, the division succeeded in capturing Malgobek. However, their larger objective In the first week of November 1942, amidst shifting strategic priorities, the division underwent a transfer from the Terek Bend to the Uruk-Alagir sector. This relocation was part of the broader effort to reinvigorate the offensive campaign, this time directed towards Ordzhonikidze rather than the previously targeted Grozny. Arriving just in the nick of time, the division played a pivotal role in extricating the 13th Panzer Division from potential encirclement at Güzel, showcasing its adaptability and agility on the battlefield. Following this daring rescue mission, the division swiftly established defensive positions along the formidable Fiagdan River, ready to confront any further challenges that lay ahead. By the end of 1942, as the harsh Russian winter descended once again, the SS Division Viking had distinguished itself with remarkable success in combat, earning the prestigious status of a Panzer Grenadier Division. Amidst the rugged terrain of the Caucasus, soldiers hailing from various European nations had demonstrated exceptional resilience and determination, steadfastly holding their ground along the Terek River during the intense Grozny operations. But everything was about to change.
MG-42 Truppen. Sagen Sie dem Kommandostab, wir greifen an. Sie sollen Verstärkung schicken.
Aufteilen! Feldwebel, übernehmen Sie mit 3 Männern die Flanke!
The encirclement of the 6th Army at Stalingrad. At this time, the entire army was under siege and almost 1 million men were at stake. An emergency communication was received to put an abrupt end to any plans of further advancement in the Caucasus. Consequently, Wiking was tasked with assuming the positions previously held by the 23rd Panzer Division. This relocation allowed the 23rd Panzer Division to be swiftly transported by rail to Kotelnikovo, where it would join the efforts to relieve the besieged forces at Stalingrad. As the operation encountered setbacks due to the Soviet advancements against the Italian 8th Army in the Middle Don region, the security of the Caucasian position itself became increasingly precarious. Erich von Manstein, commanding Army Group South, proposed a plan to bolster another attempt towards Stalingrad by deploying the 16th Motorized Infantry Division from the Elista sector. To facilitate this, Viking began its journey by train on December 24th, with its front line being shortened. However, upon its arrival on December 31st, the division found itself compelled to fill the void left by the destruction of the Romanian Corps on the 57th Panzer Corps' right flank on the 26th. It was then tasked with assisting in a challenging fighting retreat towards Rostov to cover the unavoidable withdrawal of Army Group A from the Caucasus, a decision met with fury and resistance by Adolf Hitler. The division retreated through several key points, including Zimovniki, the Kubeli, Proletarskaya, where they ensured the bridge over the Manik River remained accessible, Zelina and Yegolikskaya, as they made their way towards Bataisk and Rostov. Eventually, they managed to escape through the Rostov Gap on February 4th, securing their withdrawal from the region. Everything this division once knew and fought for was now going to slip away week by week. Following the catastrophic events at Stalingrad and the subsequent collapse of Axis forces, a significant breach emerged in the front line. In February and March of 1943, the SS Division Viking found itself tasked with the critical mission of sealing off the enemy breakthrough, which had advanced as far as Stalino. The division's swift and determined action was essential in halting the enemy's momentum and preventing further incursions into German-held territory. During this challenging period, the division received reinforcement in the form of a battalion of Estonian volunteers, forming the SS Volunteer Panzer Grenadier Battalion Narva. These dedicated soldiers bolstered the division's strength and brought fresh resolve to the ongoing conflict. The division received urgent orders to retreat to Ukraine, specifically to the area south of Kharkov. This region had recently been vacated by Obergruppenführer Paul Hauser's 2nd SS Panzer Corps and was now the focus of intense combat as efforts were made to reclaim it. Erich von Manstein, the newly appointed commander of Army Group South, deployed the 5th SS Viking Division along with the 11th Panzer Division to confront the Soviet mobile group Popov. This Soviet unit posed a significant threat as it aimed to penetrate through to the crucial rail line. However, the 5th SS Viking Division encountered substantial challenges in engaging the heavily armoured Soviet formation, struggling to effectively counter their armoured vehicles. The Panzer Grenadier regiments of the 5th SS Viking Division found themselves depleted and fatigued as a result of the grueling battles in the Caucasus region. Their ranks were under strength, with many soldiers worn down by the relentless combat conditions they had endured. Furthermore, the Panzer Battalion faced a daunting challenge due to its insufficient armour resources, leaving it ill-equipped to effectively confront the formidable Soviet force. This combination of manpower shortages and limited armoured capabilities placed additional strain on the division as it confronted the advancing enemy. Despite these challenges, the division fought hard to repel the Soviet assault. They were successful in safeguarding the crucial rail line and contributing to the eventual defeat of Mobile Group Popov. Following the recapture of Kharkov, the 5th SS Viking Division was withdrawn from frontline combat operations in order to undergo a period of extensive refitting and reorganization, transitioning into a fully equipped Panzer Grenadier Division. Because of Paul Hauser's initiatives, a significant decision was made regarding the structure of Waffen-SS Panzer Grenadier divisions. It was decided that each division would be equipped with a regiment of panzers rather than just a battalion. This transformation essentially elevated the SS Panzer Grenadier formations to the status of full-sized panzer divisions, albeit without the official designation. As part of this upgrade, one battalion of infantry within each division received half-tracks for improved mobility. Additionally, plans were set in motion to establish an additional panzer battalion, with formation commencing on February 28, 1943. In the midst of 1943, the 5th SS Viking Division underwent significant changes. Gruppenführer Steiner, now commanding, was reassigned to lead the 3rd Germanic SS Panzer Corps, then in formation in Croatia. Stepping into his shoes was Herbert Otto Geller, who would later prove himself to be as capable as Steiner. Additionally, the seasoned SS Regiment Nordland and its commander Fritz von Scholz were detached from the division to form the core of the newly established 11th SS Volunteer Panzer Grenadier Division Nordland. Furthermore, the Finnish volunteer battalion of the Waffen-SS was disbanded, marking the end of the agreed 2-year service period for the Finnish volunteers. These changes reshaped the composition of the division and reflected the evolving dynamics within the Waffen-SS during this period of the war. In an effort to compensate for the departure of the Finnish volunteers and the Nordland Regiment, the newly established Estonian volunteer unit, Estonian Volunteer Panzer Grenadier Battalion Narwa, was integrated into the division. Amidst the process of refitting, the division encountered sporadic encounters with partisan groups, showcasing its continued engagement even during periods of reorganization. By the end of June, the comprehensive restructuring was finalized, marking a significant milestone for the division. Shortly thereafter, the division was transferred to Izium, where it was tasked alongside the 23rd Panzer Division with assuming the role of the reserve force for Manstein's army group. Positioned strategically in anticipation of Operation Citadel, this placement underscored the division's crucial role in the forthcoming major offensive on the Eastern Front. While Operation Citadel was underway, multiple Soviet formations launched coordinated attacks towards Orel and Kharkov simultaneously. The 5th SS Viking Division found itself actively engaged against the advancing Soviet forces near Kharkov. During this intense period of combat, the Estonian volunteers within the division distinguished themselves, demonstrating exceptional skill and bravery by destroying approximately 100 Red Army tanks over the course of several days. Despite the cancellation of Operation Citadel, the division remained steadfastly committed to halting the ongoing Soviet assaults, reflecting its resilience and dedication on the battlefield at this time. Further south, along the Mius front, the German lines faced a significant threat from a major Red Army offensive known as Operation Rumyantsev. In response, the 5th SS Viking Division, along with the 3rd SS Totenkopf Panzer Division and the 2nd SS Panzer Grenadier Division Das Reich, were deployed to the Mius-Bogodukov sector with the objective of halting the advancing Soviet forces. Engaging in fierce combat, the SS division successfully repelled the Soviet onslaught, achieving a remarkable victory by defeating 2 Soviet tank armies, which collectively totaled over 1,000 tanks. In the process, the German forces managed to destroy over 800 enemy tanks, effectively blunting the Soviet offensive and stabilizing the front line. Throughout this period, the SS divisions consistently faced severe shortages, with no more than 50 operational panzers available at any given time. Despite the staggering losses inflicted upon the Soviet forces, they managed to seize Kharkov on August 23rd and subsequently launched an advance towards the Dnieper River. In October, the division was once again withdrawn from the front lines, this time for a comprehensive restructuring. It was reorganized into a fully fledged panzer division, officially designated as the 5th SS Panzer Division Viking. This restructuring marked a significant evolution in the division's capabilities and strategic role on the Eastern Front. In order to enhance the division's combat capabilities, the Walloon Volunteer Unit, 5th SS Sturmbrigade Wallonien, was incorporated into the division under the leadership of Léon de Grelle. Initially met with skepticism and ridicule by many veterans of the Wiking division, the Walloon unit eventually proved its mettle during the intense fighting for a forest near Teclino. Positioned at the forefront of a salient protruding into the Soviet lines, they demonstrated their effectiveness in battle, earning the respect of their fellow soldiers. Additionally, in a bid to further strengthen the division, a 2nd Panzer Battalion was ordered to commence formation in Germany. This expansion reflected the ongoing efforts to bolster the division's firepower and combat readiness in the face of escalating challenges on the Eastern Front. While the 5th SS Viking Division was engaged in combat near Teclino, several Red Army tank formations manoeuvred along the flank of the salient and successfully encircled the German forces of 42th and 11th Army Corps near Korsun. In the ensuing battle of the Korsun-Cherkassy pocket, the 5th SS Viking Division defended against Soviet assaults on the eastern side of the pocket. Meanwhile, General der Artillerie Wilhelm Stemmermann, the overall commander of the pocket, repositioned his forces to the west in preparation for a breakout attempt. Amidst these developments, the 5th SS Viking Division, along with the 5th SS Sturm Brigade, received orders to serve as the rearguard, tasked with covering the retreat of the German forces and safeguarding their withdrawal from the encircled area.
I remember the bitter cold of that February morning as we prepared to face the enemy once again. My breath billowed in front of me, mingling with the smoke from nearby fires. This battle had dragged on for days, and our division found itself encircled by the Red Army. As an Unteroffizier in the 5th Panzer Division, my duties were clear: to lead my men with courage and determination. We were hardened veterans, forged in the crucible of the Eastern Front. But even the most seasoned soldiers could feel the weight of impending doom pressing down upon us. The Soviet forces had us surrounded, their artillery pounding our positions relentlessly. We fought tooth and nail to hold our ground, knowing that retreat meant certain death. The fate of our division hung in the balance as we braced ourselves for the onslaught. I remember the deafening roar of tanks and the crackle of gunfire as the enemy launched their assault. Our defenses were tested to their limits as wave after wave of Soviet troops surged forward, but we refused to yield, clinging stubbornly to our positions amidst the chaos and carnage. In the midst of the fighting, I saw acts of heroism that would forever be etched in my memory. Men sacrificing themselves to cover the retreat of their comrades, fearless tank crews charging headlong into the fray, and medics risking their lives to tend to the wounded. But for every moment of bravery, there were countless instances of suffering and loss. The battlefield was littered with the fallen, both friend and foe alike. Each life lost was a stark reminder of the cost of war, a cost that weighed heavily on my conscience.
Following the successful defense against numerous Soviet assaults near the town of Novaya Buda, the rearguard of the 5th SS Viking Division began their withdrawal, cautiously moving under the cover of darkness, with each platoon retreating separately. As they advanced through the treacherous terrain known as Hell's Gate, the division faced intense enemy fire, resulting in significant casualties and losses in both men and equipment during the harrowing ordeal of the Korsun pocket. Throughout the chaotic retreat, Divisional Commander Giller demonstrated unwavering dedication to his men, fighting alongside them and remaining in the thick of the action until all survivors had safely escaped. Remarkably, he was among the last to cross the Gniloy-Tikich River to reach safety. Following the conclusion of this grueling battle, the 5th SS Sturmbrigade Wallonien Brigade was withdrawn from the division, marking the end of its service alongside the Viking. Following a brief period of recuperation and reorganization, the 5th SS Viking Division was deployed to aid in the defense of Kovel, which faced a significant threat from a formidable Soviet force. Under the leadership of Giller, the division advanced towards the town and promptly began establishing a defensive perimeter in anticipation of the impending enemy encirclement. As the Red Army closed in around the town, the 2nd Battalion of the SS Panzer Regiment 5 Viking, equipped with recently arrived Panther tanks, and the 3rd Battalion of the SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment Germania, fully equipped and at full strength, arrived at the front line from Germany. These fresh reinforcements immediately began organising a relief force aimed at breaking the encirclement and providing much-needed support to the besieged defenders in Kovel. The unit was led by Obersturmführer Karl Nicolucci Lech, who served as the commander of the 8th Company within the 2nd Battalion of the SS Panzer Regiment 5 Viking. In a bold move, Nicolucci Lech initiated an attack with 5 tanks upon receiving the command to halt and withdraw from the besieged commander. Despite the order to retreat, Nicolucci Lech disregarded it and pressed on with the assault, determined to break through the encirclement. Risking potential court-martial, Nicolucci Lech's Panther led the charge, engaging enemy forces and destroying several tanks along the way. Through sheer determination and courage, his tank became the first vehicle to successfully break through the Red Army's encirclement. In recognition of his extraordinary bravery and leadership, Nicolucci Lech was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross for his actions. Following the successful establishment of a corridor by the relief force to aid the trapped forces, the withdrawal process commenced. In contrast to the earlier encirclement at Kursk, the Wiking division managed to evacuate with the majority of its equipment intact. In late August 1944, the division was ordered back to Modlin Fortress on the Vistula river line near Warsaw, where it was to join the newly formed army group Vistula. Fighting alongside the Luftwaffe's Hermann Göring Panzer Division, the division annihilated the Red Army's 3rd Tank Corps at this location in very fierce battles. The advent of the Warsaw Uprising brought the Soviet offensive to a halt, and relative peace fell on the front line as in Warsaw Higher SS and police leader Erich von dem Bach, Zaleski destroyed Warsaw with its civilians and the Home Army. Throughout the remaining months of the year, the division maintained its position in the Modlin region, operating alongside the 3rd SS Totenkopf Division and the 4th SS Panzer Corps. Herbert Otto Gieler, demonstrating remarkable leadership, was elevated to command the newly established SS Panzer Corps. Following a transitional period under the temporary leadership of Oberführer Dr. Eduard Deisenhofer, command of the division was assumed by Standartenführer Johannes Mühlenkamp, who had previously held authority over the SS Panzer Regiment 5 Viking. During this time, the region of Modlin became embroiled in fierce defensive engagements as the division diligently fortified its positions against relentless enemy pressure. Despite the formidable challenges posed by the ongoing battles, the division remained resolute in its commitment to defending the area. In October, a change in leadership occurred as Oberführer Karl Ulrich succeeded Mühlenkamp, assuming command of the division for the remainder of the conflict. Under Ulrich's guidance, the division continued to play a pivotal role in the defense of Modlin, steadfastly holding its ground against enemy incursions and ensuring the stability of the front line in the face of mounting adversity. In late December 1944, the 5th SS Viking Division found itself at the forefront of a pivotal moment in the Eastern Front's tumultuous landscape. As the German forces defending Budapest faced encirclement by enemy forces, including the 9th SS Mountain Corps, the urgency of the situation became undeniable. In response to the unfolding crisis, the 4th SS Panzer Corps, which included the Viking Division, received a crucial directive to swiftly redeploy southward. This redeployment was not merely a routine maneuver, it was a vital component of Operation Conrad, a meticulously planned relief effort orchestrated to break the siege of Budapest. The stakes were high, and the success of the operation hinged upon the swift and coordinated actions of the 4th SS Panzer Corps, which was to join forces with Hermann Balck's 6th Army under the umbrella of Army Group Balck. As the division prepared to embark on this daunting task, the gravity of the situation weighed heavily upon the shoulders of its soldiers and commanders alike. They understood the critical nature of their mission and the pivotal role they would play in attempting to reverse the fortunes of war in this crucial theatre of conflict. As the morning of January 1st, 1945 dawned, the 5th SS Panzer Division Viking stood ready to fulfill its role in Operation Conrad I. Alongside its counterpart, the 3rd SS Panzer Division Totenkopf, the division embarked on a crucial offensive near the town of Tartar. Amidst the frigid winter landscape, the advance columns of the Viking Division surged forward, their engines roaring as they engaged the formidable 4th Guards Army of the Red Army. The clash that ensued was nothing short of monumental, as the opposing forces clashed with relentless ferocity. In the heat of battle, the Viking Division demonstrated its mettle, its armoured units unleashing devastating firepower upon the enemy ranks. The thunderous roar of artillery and the rattle of machine gun fire echoed across the snow-covered plains as the division pressed forward. Despite facing staunch resistance, the Viking and Totenkopf divisions proved themselves formidable adversaries, their combined might wreaking havoc upon the Red Army's ranks. In the crucible of combat, the battlefield bore witness to the destruction of numerous enemy tanks, a testament to the skill and bravery of the German panzer divisions. As the day wore on, the intensity of the battle only grew, with both sides locked in a desperate struggle for supremacy. For the soldiers of the Viking Division, this was a moment of reckoning, a test of their resolve and their commitment. In just a short span of 3 days, the 5th SS Panzer Division Viking and the 3rd SS Panzer Division Totenkopf traversed rugged and challenging terrain on their advance towards Budapest. Covering an impressive distance of 45 kilometers in such a brief time frame underscored the speed and efficiency with which the divisions operated. Despite the daunting obstacles posed by the terrain, the divisions pressed forward with resolve, their tanks rumbling across muddy tracks and rocky terrain alike. The harsh winter weather did little to impede their progress as they pushed ever closer to their objective. However, the Soviet forces, recognizing the gravity of the German advance, swiftly mobilized their troops in an attempt to halt the momentum of the advancing divisions. Maneuvering strategically, they positioned their forces to intercept the German advance, setting the stage for a fierce and decisive confrontation. As the German forces approached the town of Bigske, a mere 28 kilometers from Budapest, they found themselves facing determined resistance from the Soviet troops. The battle that ensued was intense and grueling, with both sides locked in a desperate struggle for control of the strategically vital territory. The German divisions were ultimately halted in their tracks by the resolute defense put up by the Soviet forces. The proximity of Budapest now loomed tantalizingly close, yet just out of reach as the front line remained fiercely contested. Recognizing the need for a strategic repositioning, Gila made the decision to withdraw the Viking division from the front lines, relocating it to the southern outskirts of Esztergom near the Danube Bend. This move was part of preparations for the second relief attempt, dubbed Operation Conrad II, which commenced on January 7th. Amidst the biting cold and relentless snowfall, the soldiers of the Viking division trudged forward. With each step, they drew closer to their objective, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they were nearing the heart of the conflict. As January 12th dawned, the SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment Westland found themselves on the outskirts of Pilis-Zenkarest, a small village nestled amidst the wintry landscape. Though weary from their arduous journey, the soldiers pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and the anticipation of what lay ahead. As the morning sun struggled to penetrate the thick fog that blanketed the countryside, a remarkable sight greeted the Panzer Grenadiers. Through the mist, the distinctive silhouettes of Budapest's church spires and turrets emerged, casting a surreal and haunting presence against the backdrop of the frozen landscape. Despite the initial success of the operation, as the days passed, it became increasingly clear that the forces involved had extended themselves beyond their capabilities. Strained supply lines and stretched resources left them vulnerable to counterattacks, rendering them unable to fully exploit the breakthrough they had achieved. Amidst the chaos of battle and the pressing demands of the front lines, the opportunity to consolidate their gains slipped through their fingers. Instead, they found themselves in a precarious position with little choice but to pull back and regroup in order to avoid being overrun by the enemy. Hitler's reaction to the situation was one of frustration and anger. His disappointment with the lack of progress boiled over, and he denounced the entire operation as utterly pointless. This harsh judgment underscored the magnitude of the missed opportunity and the failure to capitalize on the initial success of the offensive. In a renewed effort to relieve the besieged city of Budapest, a third attempt was made with Operation Conrad III, conducted in collaboration with the seasoned 3rd Panzer Corps. This operation unfolded approximately 100 kilometers to the south of the previous engagements. Commencing on January 20th, this offensive proved to be decisive. The coordinated assault carved out a 15-mile wide gap in the Soviet lines, creating a significant breach in their defenses. In the ensuing chaos, the 135th Rifle Corps of the Red Army suffered devastating losses, culminating in its destruction on the battlefield. Despite the promising start, the swift response of the Soviets to redeploy additional troops thwarted the German efforts for a breakthrough, effectively halting the operation by January 28th. As January drew to a close, the toll of the fierce fighting on the 5th SS Viking and the 3rd SS Totenkopf was starkly evident. Nearly 8,000 plus casualties had been suffered, with over 200 officers among the fallen. At this point, it was becoming a total bloodbath, and the streets became littered with the dead. On February 13th, the besieged forces finally surrendered, marking a grim chapter for the Germans in the history of the conflict. In the aftermath of this devastating loss, the heavily depleted Viking division received orders to relocate westward to Lake Balaton. There, Oberstgruppenführer Sepp Dietrich's 6th SS Panzer Army was mustering for another offensive, signaling a shift in the theatre of operations for the battle-weary division. During the Frühlingswaffen offensive, the 5th SS Division Viking played a crucial role in holding the left flank of the operation, operating in the region between Valencia and Cherkassy. As the offensive progressed, the division found itself deeply embroiled in fierce combat, working tirelessly to thwart Soviet attempts at outflanking the advancing German forces. However, as the momentum of the offensive began to falter, the Red Army launched a formidable counter-offensive known as the Vienna Operation on March 15th. Targeting the vulnerable gap between the 3rd SS Totenkopf Division, positioned to the north of the Viking, and the Hungarian 2nd Armoured Division, the Soviets quickly exploited the situation. Contact between these formations was swiftly lost amidst the chaos of battle, further complicating the already precarious situation on the Eastern Front. Responding swiftly to the emerging threat, Balck proposed relocating the 1st SS Panzer Corps northward to fill the vulnerable gap and prevent the encirclement of the 4th SS Panzer Corps. However, despite Balck's prompt action and recommendation, the issuance of a Führer order authorizing this maneuver was delayed, causing critical time to slip away. By the time the order was finally received and the divisions began their relocation, precious moments had been lost. On March 22nd, the Soviet encirclement of the Totenkopf and Viking divisions was nearly complete, leaving them on the brink of isolation and potential annihilation. In a desperate attempt to prevent total encirclement, Balck made the bold decision to deploy the battle-hardened 9th SS Panzer Division Hohenstaufen to the area, tasking them with holding open a small exit corridor. Despite facing overwhelming odds, Hohenstaufen fought ferociously to keep the corridor clear, sustaining heavy casualties in the process. In the harrowing battle to maintain control of the Berhida corridor, Hohenstaufen endured immense losses, yet their sacrifice allowed Giller's corps to break free from the tightening Soviet grip and evade complete encirclement. By March 24th, relentless Soviet assaults forced the weary 4th SS Panzer Corps to retreat hastily towards Vienna. Amidst the chaos of battle, all communication with the neighbouring 1st SS Panzer Corps was severed, and any semblance of an organised defensive line evaporated. Facing overwhelming opposition, the Viking division executed a tactical withdrawal deeper into Czechoslovakia, fighting fiercely to delay the Soviet advance. By early May, the division found itself within proximity of American forces, signalling a dramatic shift in the theatre of operations. Officially surrendering near Fürstenfeld, Austria on May 9th, the Viking division's journey from the Eastern Front to the hands of the Allies marked the end of its tumultuous and grueling campaign in World War II. During the night of May 12th to 13th, 1945, the command section of the 5th SS Panzer Division Viking reached the American barricades near Rastatt and Wagrain, where the division formally surrendered. Their intentions in dealing with the Americans were twofold. First, to avoid being handed over to the Soviets and instead to proceed directly to Germany, and second, to travel in their own vehicles. The Americans accepted these terms, and on June 1st, 1945, the Vikings set out from Wagrain in a large convoy, accompanied by minimal guards and without incident. The convoy route passed through lots of different towns before reaching Eberfing. Along the way, the march felt almost like a triumph, with crowds lining the streets to cheer and offer cigarettes, flowers and food to the passing vehicles, despite the presence of American soldiers at street corners. As they travelled on the Autobahn, a senior American officer in a jeep overtook the column, standing and saluting while shouting words of encouragement to the Viking division. However, these moments of apparent victory were soon overshadowed. The conditions in Allied POW camps proved to be dire, with starvation, epidemics and mistreatment taking a heavy toll on the Waffen-SS veterans. Despite the hardships, the achievements of the Viking division during the war were remarkable. Throughout the conflict, its members were awarded a total of 67 Knight's Crosses, including 3 unconfirmed, 8 with oak leaves, 3 with swords, and 1 with diamonds. The Viking division was truly unique, to say the least. Even after the war, the Allies consistently treated them with respect and admiration. They were highly esteemed by all, to the extent that even American soldiers saluted them daily. By the war's end, fatigue had set in for all soldiers, and behind the uniforms, camaraderie often flourished among men from all sides. Yet, even today, the 5th Panzer Division Viking remains renowned as one of World War II's most exceptional divisions. And lastly, remember to check out our video sponsor below to receive a massive bonus pack on all platforms. This exclusive offer includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account time. As always, I hope you've gained something valuable from our time together today. I'm grateful we could embark on this journey together. Don't forget to explore more content on my Patreon and Instagram linked below. A special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Your backing means a lot. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It greatly supports this channel. Lastly, as always, I look forward to our next adventure together. Until then, goodbye for now.